There's a reason Sigma males seem unbothered, unreadable, and untouchable. It's not arrogance, it's psychology. While most people are busy reacting, proving, or seeking validation, the Sigma operates on a different level, one built on control, awareness, and strategy. He knows exactly how to protect his peace, disarm manipulation, and walk through chaos without losing composure. This isn't about ego, it's about mastery. Every move he makes is calculated, quiet, and designed to keep him one step ahead. People may think they understand him, but by the time they do, he's already shifted. His strength doesn't come from dominance. It comes from discipline. By the end of this video, you'll understand why no one can truly break a Sigma male and how his psychological balance becomes his armor in a chaotic world. If you're someone who values strength and silence and power and self-control, make sure you subscribe to Ultrawise, because here, we don't just talk about masculinity, we master it. They control emotional reactions, not situations. A Sigma male's greatest strength isn't dominance, it's discipline. While most people try to control the world around them, the Sigma focuses on mastering the only thing that truly matters: his own reactions. When conflict arises, he doesn't argue to win. He observes, analyzes, and responds with surgical precision. He knows that emotion clouds judgment, and in a chaotic world, clarity is power. Every insult, rejection, or betrayal becomes a test of composure. Instead of exploding, he lets others expose themselves through their overreactions. His calmness disarms manipulators because they can't feed off his energy. The Sigma understands that losing control, even for a second, gives others leverage over him, so he treats emotional regulation like training a muscle. He practices patience, silence, and restraint until chaos no longer shakes him. That's why people misunderstand him. They think he doesn't care, when in reality he cares deeply. Just not enough to lose his peace over things he can't control. His silence during conflict isn't weakness, it's a power move. While others waste energy trying to change circumstances or people, the Sigma channels all his focus into adapting and outlasting. This mindset makes him nearly untouchable. When everyone else reacts emotionally, he becomes the still point in the storm, the one who can think clearly, act efficiently, and recover quickly. And in a world driven by ego and instant reactions, that kind of composure isn't just rare, it's unstoppable power. They master the art of silence. For the Sigma male, silence isn't a lack of response, it's a deliberate strategy. He's learned that when you stop filling the air with explanations, defenses, or emotions, people start revealing their true selves. Most individuals are uncomfortable with quiet. They rush to fill it with words, and in doing so they expose their motives, insecurities, and lies. The Sigma simply watches. He listens not for what's said, but for what's avoided. He studies tone, body language, and energy, the subtle signs that most people miss because they're too busy talking. Silence gives him an edge that noise never could. When others are desperate to be heard, he stays calm and unreadable. That unpredictability unnerves people who rely on control or manipulation. They can't gauge his thoughts, they can't provoke a reaction, and they can't use his emotions as leverage. Every pause he takes is intentional, a way to observe and calculate without giving anything away. Over time, this discipline turns into a form of quiet power. The Sigma's silence becomes his armor, a filter that protects him from chaos and weak intentions. He doesn't argue to prove he's right, and he doesn't reveal what he's planning. Instead, he lets others expose their patterns, while he remains centered, calm, and in control. The truth is, silence speaks louder than words when it comes from someone who understands its value. It confuses enemies, commands respect, and earns attention without effort. People may think he's withdrawn or distant, but in reality, he's gathering information, choosing precision over participation. And when he finally decides to speak, his words carry the weight of someone who has already seen through everything. They use detachment as emotional armor. For Sigma males, detachment isn't about indifference. It's about survival in a world addicted to emotional chaos. They've learned that the moment you attach your peace to people's opinions, outcomes, or validation, you give away control of your life. So instead of chasing approval, they stand apart, not above, not beneath, just separate. This quiet separation gives them power that most people will never understand. When others get caught in emotional storms, the Sigma observes from the shore. He doesn't fight to be liked or understood. He doesn't depend on circumstances to define his worth. By detaching, he keeps his decisions clear, his emotions grounded, and his focus unshakable. He knows that control doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from mastering himself. This mindset makes him unpredictable. Manipulators can't guilt him, critics can't shame him, and failure can't break him. When something doesn't serve his growth, he doesn't argue, he simply moves on. That calm distance unnerves people who rely on reaction because it exposes their dependence on control and approval. Detachment allows the Sigma male to move through life without being emotionally hijacked by anyone's expectations. He still feels deeply, but his emotions serve him, not the other way around. It's not coldness, it's precision. It's the quiet power of a man who refuses to let the world dictate his inner state. And that kind of control, it's the very reason no one can manipulate him. They let actions speak louder than ego. Sigma males learned early that talking rarely changes minds. Results do. While others argue, explain, or flex for validation, the Sigma builds in silence. He doesn't waste energy defending his reputation or correcting misconceptions because he understands that true confidence never seeks permission to exist. Instead of defending his image, he constructs proof. And proof speaks for itself. His focus isn't on being liked, it's on being effective. The Sigma male's drive comes from a personal standard of excellence, not external applause. He knows ego is a trap. It makes you reactive, predictable, and dependent on attention. So while others chase recognition, he's quietly stacking wins, improving his skills, and letting his progress dismantle doubt one step at a time. This mindset makes him dangerous in the best way. He doesn't need to announce his intentions or broadcast his effort. He lets outcomes do the talking. By the time people notice what he's built, it's already too late to compete. His consistency becomes his reputation, his silence, his confidence, and his results, his revenge. The Sigma's power lies in restraint. He could boast, but he doesn't. He could explain, but he'd rather execute. Every goal achieved without noise reinforces one truth. While most people waste time trying to prove themselves, he's already moved on to the next level. That's why he's untouchable. Because his ego doesn't drive him, mastery does. They observe power dynamics like a psychologist. Sigma males move through life like quiet analysts. Before they act, they study. Not just people's words, but the invisible exchanges of power that most overlook. They understand that every room, every conversation, and every relationship carries a hidden structure. Who seeks control, who gives it away, who leads through presence, and who hides behind noise. While others rush to be heard, the Sigma stays silent, watching how people position themselves. He reads hierarchy the way a psychologist reads body language, subtly, deeply, and without emotion. He's not driven by the need to dominate. He's driven by awareness. When someone tries to assert power through arrogance, flattery, or manipulation, the Sigma sees through it instantly. He watches how people react under pressure, how they treat those with less influence, and how their tone changes when no one's watching. That's how he identifies real strength versus performance. His insight isn't intuition alone. It's pattern recognition, built through observation, discipline, and experience. Because he understands the psychology behind power, he rarely reacts emotionally. When others try to provoke him, he doesn't bite. When they test his patience, he remains composed. He knows that the one who stays calm controls the flow of the interaction. Every pause, every glance, every silence is a calculated move. Not manipulation, but mastery of self. People mistake it for coldness, but it's strategy. He understands that emotional impulsiveness is how control is lost. What makes this so effective is that his awareness is internal, not performative. He doesn't need to expose others' games. He simply refuses to play them. By observing quietly, he learns where influence truly lies, not in volume, but in self-control. When he finally chooses to act, it's precise, decisive, and impossible to predict because it comes from deep understanding, not reaction. Sigma males don't need power struggles because they already know where they stand. They don't chase dominance, they create balance. Their insight into human nature makes them nearly impossible to manipulate, and that calm observation is their greatest advantage. In a world full of loud egos fighting for control, the Sigma male wins by doing what no one else can, understanding the psychology of power without becoming enslaved by it. They limit access to their energy. Sigma males treat their energy like currency. Not everyone earns the right to spend it. They've learned, often through painful experience, that time, focus, and emotional investment are finite resources. Every conversation, every connection, every environment either drains or multiplies that energy. So while most people scatter their attention across meaningless drama and shallow connections, the Sigma male invests it only where it compounds, where it contributes to growth, peace, or purpose. He knows the cost of giving too freely. In the past, he's likely poured himself into people who took without giving back, listened to problems that were never meant to be solved, and stayed loyal to situations that quietly bled him dry. That's how he learned discernment. Now, when someone demands his time, he observes their intention. Are they seeking value or validation? Growth or gossip? If it's the latter, they never make it past his mental gates. This selective access isn't arrogance, it's wisdom. The Sigma male understands that energy shapes reality. If you surround yourself with chaos, you'll mirror it. If you guard your peace, you'll amplify it. That's why he lives by one rule: never waste presence on people who drain purpose. He doesn't chase conversations that lead nowhere or relationships that stagnate. Instead, he channels his focus into self-mastery, goals, and environments that elevate him. To outsiders, his distance might look cold, but in truth, it's control. He's not avoiding connection, he's curating it. He knows that not everyone deserves a seat at his table. Some only come to eat, not to contribute. And because he no longer feels guilty for protecting his space, his calm becomes magnetic. People sense the difference between a man who needs attention and a man who values energy. In the end, the Sigma's discipline over his time and focus becomes one of his greatest advantages. He's efficient, composed, and rarely overwhelmed, because he understands what most don't. Energy spent carelessly is freedom lost quietly. And when he limits access, it's not about rejection, it's about preservation. They redefine pressure as a test of control. Most people crumble when life tightens its grip, but Sigma males see pressure differently. To them, it's not punishment, it's proof. Every challenge, every crisis, every moment of tension is a test of how much control they've built within themselves. While others panic, the Sigma slows down. He studies the storm instead of running from it. That's his secret. Pressure doesn't shake him because he's already mastered the art of stillness. This mindset comes from experience, not theory. Sigma males have lived through moments where everything fell apart: relationships, trust, careers, or dreams. They've been the ones standing in chaos, realizing no one's coming to save them. In those moments, they learned something powerful. Composure is strength. The world doesn't get calmer. You just learn to operate clearly inside the noise. That lesson turns them into rare men, the kind who don't just survive pressure, but use it as a mirror to measure growth. They understand that emotion and impulse are what destroy focus. When pressure rises, they regulate their breathing, their thoughts, and their tone because control begins inside. They ask themselves, what's the next move? Not why is this happening? That shift in mindset transforms stress into strategy. It's not about ignoring emotion, but mastering it. Every trial becomes training. Every setback, a chance to test discipline. This is why Sigma males appear unshakable when others lose control. They don't need to prove they're calm. It's built into their psychology. Their confidence isn't loud. It's consistent. They've trained themselves to respond, not react, to stay logical when others drown in emotion. And that's what makes them leaders even when they never asked to lead. For the Sigma, pressure isn't something to escape, it's something to harness. It sharpens his focus, clarifies his priorities, and exposes what truly matters. The more intense life becomes, the stronger his stillness grows. Because he knows that in chaos, the loudest one loses control, but the calm one takes it. They stay 2 steps ahead through self-mastery. For the Sigma male, control doesn't come from outsmarting others, it comes from mastering himself. While most people focus on predicting external moves, he's focused on managing his internal world, his thoughts, impulses, and emotions. He knows that when your mind is disciplined, your environment naturally follows. Self-mastery is his edge, the quiet advantage that keeps him 2 steps ahead in every situation. He doesn't waste time trying to manipulate outcomes or people. Instead, he sharpens awareness. When anger rises, he pauses. When opportunity appears, he assesses before acting. Every decision is filtered through logic and long-term clarity, not ego or impulse. This allows him to move deliberately while everyone else reacts emotionally. It's not luck that keeps him ahead, it's precision born from self-control. Behind that calm demeanor is years of internal training. He's faced his weaknesses head-on: fear, doubt, loneliness, and learned how to manage them instead of hiding from them. That's what separates him from the crowd. Most people are at war with themselves, but the Sigma male has made peace with his own mind. And because of that, nothing external can truly shake him. He plans quietly, acts strategically, and adapts faster than most can process. His discipline turns chaos into data and emotion into clarity. When people wonder how he stays composed while others fall apart, the answer is simple. He's already rehearsed every possibility in his head. That's not paranoia, it's preparation. In the end, the Sigma male's power doesn't come from dominance, status, or control over others. It comes from his ability to command himself. He knows that the man who conquers his mind doesn't need to conquer anyone else. Because once you master your own reactions, you've already won the only battle that truly matters. The truth is, Sigma males don't play the same game as everyone else. They master themselves until the game plays in their favor. Their strength isn't about being louder, faster, or richer. It's about being calmer, sharper, and completely in control of their inner world. They know that power isn't something you chase, it's something you build quietly until no one can take it from you. When you reach that level of focus, distractions fade, chaos loses its pull, and confidence stops being a performance. It becomes your default state. That's the psychology of being untouchable. If this mindset resonates with you, subscribe to UltraWise, because every video here will challenge you to become more controlled, more disciplined, and more dangerous in silence. Comment below, do you think being emotionally detached makes you stronger or colder?